welcome everyone to PopCultX episode 64. Every week we come with more pop culture news, entertainment news, music, sports, everything that kind of falls under that umbrella, but from the Gen X or
Sports.
Old guy, middle age perspective. I pretend that we talk about sports, but yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it since you're wearing a sports hat.
Yeah, since I am wearing a sports hat, let's talk about sports if you don't mind. Well, actually, more specifically, San Diego sports, since we're both have huge ties to San Diego, obviously.
Yeah.
They released what they call the City Connect jerseys or uniforms. Each team will eventually have one designed by Nike's outfitters. If you haven't seen them, go look them up. I have mixed feelings about them. The design, I think, is fantastic. And the marketing piece that they created to go along with that is fantastic. My only drawback and hesitation that I have for that, and I've said from the get-go, is the colors. The color scheme they use screams Miami, screams South Beach neon. And it has nothing to do, I think, with the bicultural vibe that they were going for down here in San Diego. If they had used a more vibrant red, a green, more similar close to the Mexican flag colors, it would have been spot on with what they were going for. Although I will say this, the only color where it ties in a little bit for me is when I look at like the ballet folklorico dancer dresses, and they have those pinks and they have those tones of greens, and I don't even mind the yellow on the uniform. So go look up the uniform, make your own decision about the City Connect jerseys. That's my 2 cents on it. I'm sure you have some opinions on it as well.
Yeah, I immediately thought Miami too, which is weird because it's those neon colors. It's like it's South Beach. It's that sort of neon Art Deco pink, green, yellow,
flamingo pink.
Yeah, and so I did think it was weird. I'm not a native San Diegan. I've lived here, I think, long enough to be able to talk about San Diego as if I have authority to do so. But there obviously is a very strong culture here with the Mexican American community. We're obviously a border town. Filipino. I heard someone say they wanted more of a military influence on the design. But I think that there isn't really, because there's so many people that come in and out of San Diego, that there isn't like a set look for San Diego. Like we have modern buildings, we have Spanish buildings, we have wannabe Art Deco buildings. We have like it wasn't like city planning sat down and said this is going to be the look of San Diego. And there's very distinctive neighborhoods that have like different feels. Whereas like Miami does, I mean, it's not a Florida thing. Florida is completely different, but Miami has that sort of look about it that they kind of came together and said like, this is what's going to be our look. So I think it's kind of neat that we were going to redesign San Diego and say like, okay, moving forward, this is going to be our style. It might be a little off the mark as far as the colors and the neons, but I am excited by it because the brown and yellow or brown and gold or whatever that color is, it is classic. Like it does look cool, but it's pretty, it's not exciting. And so I will probably pick up the hat. It's the
hat is cool. The teal green with the pink SD. Yeah, I was looking for one of those in a couple different stores this past weekend because I wanted to get it. Yeah.
The hat's really cool. The baseball jersey. So here's what it reminds me of, and I don't know if a lot of our young viewers will know this reference, but do you remember in The Babysitter's Dead? What was that movie? Mom, We Killed the Babysitter.
Don't tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Yeah,
don't tell Mom. So at the very end, when they redesigned,
they do the fashion show. Yeah,
it's like neon pink, and it was like, oh, that's so hip and fresh. That's sort of how this looks. Like the neon colors.
I can see
that. That's like super cool. Like I want to work at the hot dog company now or whatever. And so that's kind of what it reminds. It's very 80s, very like it's very 80s. So it can kind of go both ways for me. It's not going to be their like full on uniform. So anyone that's like upset about that, like it's not their actual uniform. It's like
It's the one-offs that they wear every Friday home game.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll wear it 5 times this year.
Yeah.
But
so,
I
as
will
far
admit,
as that, I think it's cool.
Watching them play in that uniform was really cool. It looked good on the field, although people were comparing it to a minor league team uniform, which is, minor league teams are a little more out there, I guess. Also, in the baseball game for PlayStation 5, MLB The Show, they actually have that option now to use that jersey. So I put it on them. I was playing the game. I was like, hey, I'm going to put the City Connect jersey on. And it looked cool. I mean, it grew on me. Like I said, the design I love. I like the 2 tones on the sleeves, the 2 different colors, and the 2 different colors where it says San Diego. But, yeah, get the colors right, and I'll be more than happy to shell out $150 to buy one. Yeah. But the hats I'm probably going to get as well. Yeah.
A lot of people, I mean, I went to the site to try to take a look, and a lot of them are already sold out in certain sizes. So people are definitely going to be rocking them, and so it is popular in a sense. So, but it's kind of cool. Just be different.
I think there was a couple pro wrestlers. Rey Mysterio, I think I guess he has roots in San Diego or ties to San Diego. Him and I think it's his son. I'm not too familiar with them. They were both wearing the jerseys when they performed or wrestled the other day, I guess. So it's going to be a popular jersey.
Yeah. All right, cool. I mean, that's pretty much as far as I go as far as sports talk.
That's your sports talk, the jerseys.
The jerseys. I mean, but it was like a really hot topic for pop culture. It came across, my view because typically, I mean, I don't pay attention, even though I'm in San Diego. Every once in a while, there could be something that's sports related that's like really controversial or really kind of, if they were to make it to the World Series, I would find out about it. But other than that, they're, as far as the players or things like that, I don't really know about. So anyway, something cool that happened while we were on our little bit of hiatus is I volunteered with the Comic-Con Museum here in San Diego. And for those who don't know, it's actual museum that operates year-round, not just during Comic-Con.
Wow, that's cool.
It's in Balboa Park. It's in
is it? Okay.
Sports. It's in the former Hall of Fame sports museum. So like right on that corner.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Kind of by the Air and Space Museum, the Auto Museum, in that little cul-de-sac. And they did a great job. So that right now what they're doing is they have their full-time exhibit. So let me back up and they have an Archie's exhibit, like the Archie's comics from, back in the day. And it has some memorabilia from Riverdale, the show that's based off of the Archie comics. Then they have a really cool artwork and exhibit about the Rocketeer artwork and the creator.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
And something was really cool. I'm not a real big Rocketeer fan. I like the art style because it's a throwback to like the 40s and that era. But the artist based the girlfriend of the Rocketeer on Betty Page. And so he has some drawings on there that are like really pin-up-y and really sexy. And I was really surprised to see that it's a comic. But that was cool. And then on the main floor, their main exhibition right now is the celebration of the Amazing Spider-Man. So they have some almost life-size statues of Doc Ock. They have Spider-Man sort of hanging from a ceiling. They have the lizard, the top portion of like his head, his bust, which is ridiculously large. And you're like, oh, wow, that's impressive. They have some memorabilia from No Way Home. One of the suits that the early versions of like a Spider-Man suit, and lots of artwork if you're into comic books and how they come up with them. So like the storyboards, you get to see like how they like white stuff out and how they letter it.
Cool.
Some scripts. So just a lot of really cool stuff that maybe you don't really come across at a comic book store that you get to see. They had, I think, encased the first appearance of Spider-Man. So that's something I've never seen up close in person, obviously behind glass and like, you can't touch it. And then they had a really cool case, cool for me because I collect action figures. But they had like cool Spider-Man toys from like all the way from the beginning, and lunch boxes, all the different iterations of the figure. I think the Spanish version is like El Hombre Araña. So that's kind of cool to see that. I took a picture of that. It was kind of neat. And then they have like a really cool gift shop that has like Spider-Man, Miles Morales t-shirts, cool books, toys, just all kinds of different stuff. So it's something that maybe if you didn't happen to get a pass to the Comic-Con this year, this might be something that you could take your family to and still get a little bit of that experience.
Yeah.
And get some insight into Spider-Man's world, and have a day at the park, because that's probably one of the best attractions in San Diego. So just add this museum to that, and I think it's a good attraction. So I highly recommend it. I'll actually be volunteering there the weekend of San Diego Comic-Con. So if anyone wants to drop by and say hi to me, by all means, feel free.
He'll be dressed up in cosplay as Spider-Man.
Not so much. I thought we could do the Alfred Molina Doc Ock. I'm kind of similar shape. He's a little bit older than me, but he is Spanish, so I can kind of get away with that. But yeah, definitely not. When you look at the size of the Spider-Man outfit, you're like, Jesus, that actor is tiny. Like waist. That's a running joke, right? That actors are really small. But when you see them, and I forgot to mention, they do have costumes on like their basement level of all these different like cosplay, really cool costumes. But you really get to see like how small they are, and the actresses even more so, like their waist, and you're like, wow, that's why they get paid those big bucks, because they can fit into those skin tight outfits and not look foolish. But I recommend it. It's a good afternoon to go check out Spider-Man. He's one of my favorite characters in the Marvel universe, not just in the MCU, but also in like the comic book, universe.
That's one thing about Spider-Man, though. There's so many iterations of him, right? Amazing Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. I just made that up. I don't know if that's true. Magnificent. Then there's, of course, Miles Morales. Then there's Peter Parker. Who's the other one? Ben Reilly.
There's Ben Reilly. There are female iterations of Spider people. So Silk. You have a Mexican, American, Puerto Rican version who goes by Spider Girl. Yeah, Spider Woman. Because they have the Spider universe. They have,
of course,
Madam Web, that I think they just announced that they're going to be making a movie of. And Venom is like offshoot of
Morbius
the
in there as well.
And then Venom has Carnage. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different symbiotes from that. So, ton of characters. They have like a cool Spider-Ham statue that I took a picture with.
Oh, nice.
So it's Peter Porker, and he was one of my favorite standouts in the Miles Morales movie. I thought he was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I also mentioned there's a Pac-Man exhibit as well that has like a huge Pac-Man thing that you can play, along with like different versions of the arcade Pac-Man. So they have like Miss Pac-Man. I think there's like a son of Pac-Man, or I don't know.
Something like that, yeah. Pac-Man Jr.
All the cool memorabilia. So it's a really cool museum. Like there's not a lot of museums that are dedicated to the pop culture of comic books. So it's kind of cool to see that, and we should support that, because we should want to see more of that, because Comic-Con happens, there are now cons like everywhere, but for those of us that can't travel out to go out to those different conventions, something like that Comic-Con museum is really cool, and especially as they rotate out their different exhibits.
Or for those of us who don't really like huge crowds, can avoid that, just go to this museum. That's cool. I think I'll have to go there next time I'm down in town.
Yeah, I was reading the rules of Comic-Con, and I went to WonderCon, and you had to wear a mask. And then so I was looking at, to get into Comic-Con, you have to show either a negative COVID test, 72 hours, or your vaccinations. And then you have to wear a mask the whole time. So I was thinking, I wonder how the cosplayers are going to implement a mask
into
their
their
cosplay. Obviously, Spider-Man, the mask is, I don't know, do they have to wear a mask inside of the mask?
I don't know.
So I'd be kind of curious because I know a lot of people like to do extremely intricate cosplay for Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, because that's like the big one, right? And so it'll be interesting to see how people do their spin on their cosplay with the mask on.
Can they wear full head covering masks anymore? I thought there was at some point they banned that for security. Yeah.
At WonderCon, I saw Spider people, so they had Spider-Man mask on. So I think maybe COVID made that a thing again. Because how can you tell someone
put your mask on?
But they can't wear a mask. So yeah, I'll be hopefully taking some pictures with some of my favorite cosplayers.
Nice.
There's a few that I've taken in the past. I forget their names, of course, because I'm old, but there's a woman who's actually an attorney who's really cool that I've met that does Wonder Woman cosplay. And she does like the Linda Carter 70s version Wonder Woman, super statuesque, like an Amazon woman in real life. So she's really cool.
Nice.
There's another woman that's done Storm a couple times that I've taken pictures, and she has like the white contacts that like Storm, and you typically see a couple Wolverines walking around. So a lot of Iron Man at the actual opening of the museum. They had Todd Gloria, the current mayor of San Diego, and so they had some cosplayers there to kind of do. They didn't cut a ribbon; they actually cut a spider web. So that was kind of funny. And they had someone dressed up as Spider-Man Noir, someone as Ghost Spider, which is Gwen Stacy, Spider Girl, and Spider-Man. They had a reporter from the Daily Bugle, which I thought that's a really smart cosplay because you could just dress up and have she had a little microphone that said press, and she's like, I work at the Daily Bugle. And I was like, that's never would have dawned my mind to dress up as a reporter from the Daily Bugle, but it is cosplay. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. You don't have to spend a ton of money and, so for someone that's not that creative, not that she's not creative, but you know what I'm saying? Like someone that doesn't know how to build armor. And there was an Iron Man there that had like the head came up and all the mechanical things. So that was really cool. Seeing all those cosplayers. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. I mean, I wish I could go, but maybe sometime in the future when people start to recognize that PopCultX is for the people and get us press passes so we can go.
Yeah.
It's up to you guys.
Yeah, for sure. we are, a very prolific podcast now with episode 64 under our belt. So
prolific. Yes.
Gotta use as much euphemistic terms as you can just to, make it sound good.
Yeah. I just stick to the dad jokes. You can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I finally watched a movie that you had seen that was really, really good. Not really good. It was fantastic. It was Everything Everywhere All at Once with Michelle Yeoh by the Daniels, the directors, the filmmakers. And it was just great. I say give her all the awards. She was just fantastic in it. Every single iteration of her character and just the little nuances that she brought to each of them. It was just great. Yeah. I mean, Stephanie Sue was great in it. What's it? Her father. Jamie, yes, she was awesome too. Yes, and the two gentlemen that were in the movie as well. I can't think of their names, but they were also great as well. The whole cast was just great. I really loved the movie. It was just the story and the takeaway from the story. Basically choose kindness over fighting, and that will help solve more problems than fighting it out will. And it was just a fantastic story. So well done, Daniels. And great name, but yeah, it was just great.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. The other day, sometimes when I get bored, I do like my own fan cast of superhero movies, and I thought, there's a iteration of the X-Men, Generation X, and Jubilee is part of it, so she's part of the X-Men. People are aware of her. So I thought, who would play Jubilee really cool? And I thought the girl that plays, or the woman that plays the daughter in that movie, would make a really cool Jubilee.
Stephanie Sue, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like just the outfits that she was wearing and the attitude I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I just thought she would be a really cool Jubilee. Like I try to think outside of the box with some of the casting. There actually someone that is could be considered out of the box for some is Elliot Page. Is his name is being thrown around for casting of the Flash. I don't know what's going to happen because the Flash is almost doomed. I don't know what's happening, what's going to happen.
I heard they were going to release it on HBO Max. Maybe I just saw some report about that. So, because they haven't filmed, I guess it's ready to ship out. But so instead of just making it a complete wash, just put it on HBO Max and not promote it.
Well, the thing is that's weird about that, and then I'm going to come back to the whole Elliot issue, is that why so the guy, I don't even know, I forget his name, the guy that they have as the Flash currently, he's an asshole. But why make the director suffer, all the people that worked really hard to get the movie made, and like the film has to be canceled? Like realistically, it's pretty, like it's almost impossible that they're gonna digitally replace him with someone else. So you're really kind of punishing a whole series of people for the actions of one guy, which seems kind of unfair. You know, he's obviously not a good guy. I don't support him or any of the actions that he's done. But watching the movie is not going to – you're not showing his support to him. He's not – you know, he's not – he's still got paid, right? So it's not going to –
he's already got his money,
come out, it's not going to suffer. Like his reputation is already in the trash. So him having a bomb is not really going to make or break him. He's already broken, I think. So it's kind of interesting that people just like don't want it to exist or want to recast it. And it's like, they're not going to remake it. Like as much as we may want to see that happen, if it was a small role within Justice League, maybe they would have replaced him the way they added Tig Notaro to
Army of the Dead. Yeah.
But they're not, they can't do a whole movie. Like that's just,
it's his movie. Yeah.
But getting back to Elliot Page's name getting thrown about, and a lot of support. A lot of people are saying, I could see that. He's a really great actor. He is really cool in the Umbrella Academy. I haven't seen the new season yet. Apparently his character transitions. So he's able to play himself as a man in the role, which is kind of cool and interesting that the creators did that and supported him in that way. I'm not opposed to casting a trans male actor in the role. However, it seems the physicality of the character just doesn't match. He doesn't seem like a superhero type. And when you have, someone that is 5'11", I think in the comics is like 6'1", 5'11" in that, and I think Elliot Page is like 5'1". It
just doesn't match. Yeah,
the physical aspect of his personality isn't imposing. Flash has a lot of other aspects like the speed, the humor, his personality that I think definitely could nail. But at the same time, I think that there's a certain part of the physical part of the role, whereas like Hugh Jackman had to gain muscle, become the Wolverine.
But he's also 6 inches taller than what Wolverine's supposed to be, right?
Right. And so, I mean, in that sense, yeah, it's not accurate as far as the height, but if you could become imposing, if you could look physically like a superhero, I don't know if Elliot Page is even wanting to do that. Like they're not asking him. People are just asking him. So, and also like they're saying that maybe he's a bit too old. I think he might be in his 30s. So it's just kind of interesting. I do love fan casting because I think it gives Hollywood an idea of what fans want to see, and it could spark something really cool. Someone could get cast that we want to see, but I think that maybe that particular superhero it's off the mark for that casting. I would be more than happy to see him play a different character, but maybe not the Flash.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fan casting, I saw this come across. Taron Egerton, who, from Kingsman, Rocket Man, where he played Elton John, as possibly the new Wolverine in the MCU.
Yeah.
And I could see that if he
Yeah,
bulks
he's
a little bit. Yeah. If he hits the gym, gets the same trainers that Hugh Jackman did, I can see that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I could see that. I mean, he is sort of young, so it's like what iteration of Wolverine? Because I always see Wolverine as like a guy that's been through a lot. Like he's
true.
And so that aspect of it, I could see Wolverine being someone maybe a bit older. But it depends on what universe what time period, if they're gonna rehash the Weapon X plot and he's supposed to be a young guy, or I don't know, who knows. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, for the most part, I am really open to casting that maybe not be as obvious to some. But sometimes I'm like, it's a little. I'm not super happy seeing The Rock play Black Adam. I just don't think that he's a good actor. To me, it makes it seem kind of cheesy. And Shazam was already kind of a bit too cheesy for me. And so adding this to like that same universe is like, it might be too much. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking about that. And who else but The Rock could play that role? I mean, here's this gentleman that's bigger than life in real life, right? And he looks like a comic book superhero already. And give him the one-liners, the cheesy one-liners, whatnot. And right there's a comic book already built in. He doesn't need to be a Shakespearean dramatic actor to play that role, I don't think. I mean, I've never read Black Adam, so I don't know. But I think he's going to embody that character perfectly. Just like the gentleman who did Shazam. I wasn't familiar with Shazam. It was cheesy, but I thought he did a great job playing that.
Yeah, I was overall, I was happy with it. I don't think he matched the physical characteristics of Captain Marvel as well. Captain Marvel is like almost bigger than Superman, like as far as how they draw him. So like they needed to get a big guy, and he did bulk up, but like in the suit, like he has like the super skinny neck, and then there's like big padded. It's sort of weird, and that was a lot of fans like were doubting him because they're like, he can't. As many trips to the gym, he's just not going to get it. They needed someone that had The Rock's physical characteristics, but I just can't get over The Rock. Like it's The Rock. Every time I see him, he's playing the same. It's The Rock. So maybe just
Dwayne Johnson, say his name. It's Dwayne Johnson.
And the clips that I did see, like he gets hit, and the face that he makes just seems really cheesy. It just seems like not. It just doesn't seem cool. I don't know. But my hope for that is that they are introducing other cool characters like Hawkman, Dr. Fate. So I will be watching it for those other characters because hopefully they're building up the Justice Society. So maybe that will be the thing that saves that movie for me. But who knows? Maybe I'll love it. Maybe The Rock will change my opinion, and I'll love it. But
speaking of other movies, go off on a different tangent. Back to Marvel, we saw the first artist renditions of Namor for Black Panther 2. So what do you think of that?
Yeah. So here's the thing that I stopped watching. I stopped going in Twitter to see what people's reactions are, because unfortunately, I think that a lot of people are influenced by their prejudice and racism when it comes to this character. Yeah. People are attacking the Mayan Aztec influence. So I'm going to go back to the influence of that design. But there is a certain segment of the fandom that will never be happy with a character being played by someone who's not white. This is a person that is supposed to be from Atlantis. So a lot of the criticism that I saw was like, oh, this guy's Mexican. That's not like the characters from Atlantis. Okay, name an actor that is from Atlantis. They don't like, what part of that don't you understand?
Right.
So that's one. So I stopped. I happen to really like the design. I think it's really cool.
It looked really cool.
I love the design of it. It's not accurate to the ancient Mayan or Aztec civilizations. It's supposed to be inspired. Just like Black Panther is not exactly from an African tribe.
Right.
It's influenced
Wakanda,
by African art. Wakanda is influenced by civilizations and cultures that exist within Africa, right? So it's like, don't hold it to like 100% accuracy. Like it's kind of annoying that people are doing that with this character, because like Mexicans can be part of fantasy and that fantasy culture where we can pretend that there are dragons that came out of Mexico. They don't have to look exactly like Quetzalcoatl. They can have a twist to it. It can be influenced by our culture.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be, 100% accurate. Like, oh, the nose piercing is not there. It's supposed to. It's like, it's a comic book movie. It's just, he looks cool. That's it. That's what I'm happy with, is that they made him look cool. He looks like a superhero. The character itself is kind of corny looking to begin with. He wears a green bathing suit. He has wings on his feet. He has pointy ears and like insane eyebrows. So they need to make him look cool anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm really happy by the way that he looks. I'm really interested on how they're going to create the other characters, because obviously he's going to have an Atlantis family. So I from what I hear, they're going to be casting like Mexican indigenous actors or people that are from indigenous descent, which is really cool, because a lot of times we see the Latinos that get cast are very light skinned. So it's good that we're going to actually get some brown people to be on film. So I'm excited. I am not listening to the naysayers. He looks cool to me. He looks badass. I'm glad that, young brown people are going to be able to look up to a brown superhero. Like, I don't care if it makes, comic book nerds cry and they're sad about Neymar not looking exactly the way he does in the comic books. Okay, well, go cry. I don't care. And neither does Marvel. Like,
neither do they. Exactly.
They want to be inclusive. They want to have different characters. So they're going to do it. They're moving forward. So bitch and whine all you want on Twitter. It's not going to change anything. People are still going to go see. I mean, people loved Black Panther. Black Panther 2, the sequel. People are dying to see what it's going to be about. How, who Black Panther is going to be. What characters and villains are they going to have? So it's going to be a blockbuster. So talk all the shit you want. It's not going to help or hurt.
Coming at you. Yeah. Yeah. And I think another thing that you just said made me think about Miss Marvel, the new show on Disney Plus, and how brown people are being more represented on screen and people can see themselves in the series, especially for this show. I think Miss Marvel, because it has a huge culture that we don't really get to see or take part in unless you're, of course, in the Muslim culture or faith. So seeing it on screen for me is very enlightening. Yeah, seeing and learning more about the history of India and the partition and how Pakistan was created. Now, of course, it might be Hollywood version of it, but if you're anything like me, you seek out what it's more about, and you learn more about what happened there and the true historical events that shaped that comic book story, right? So I think that's what I really like most about Miss Marvel, is that they're exploring that. They're teaching us, they're showing us that what happened in their own version of it. And I think that's really cool. And I really enjoy Miss Marvel for that.
Yeah. And to share a bit of why I'm excited about Miss Marvel and Kamala Khan and how representation matters, probably about, I would say maybe 10 years ago, I as a team building exercise, we had our name tags put on our offices, and each of us, so that we can kind of get to know each other. And they knew that I could, kind of draw. So they were like, could you do like superhero versions of us? And I was like, yeah, that's like right up my alley. So I took myself, and like at the time, I had to wear a tie to work. So my thing was like, I always had like a sweater vest on with the tie. So like that was part of my costume. And we had And she actually works with me now. I got her hired at my current job, but we had a Muslim coworker, and so I wanted to be respectful of her culture and how she wanted to be perceived. So I asked her, okay, like if you had a superpower, what would it be? Because I didn't want to and be insulting to her and have like a skin tight outfit. So like I made the superhero version of her like have a modest clothing. It almost, I mean, it was very similar to the way Kamala Khan looks, like like some scarves, like some like flowing fabric to make it look kind of cool movement, but fully covered, nothing really skin tight. She told me that in Afghanistan, she learned to hunt with a bow and arrow with her dad.
Oh, wow.
So that was part of her superhero thing, was like a bow and arrow. And so she loved it. She was like, oh my God, this is so great. She put it up. She shared it with her daughters. She has 2 daughters, and they're been raised here in the US. So they're very much like Kamala Khan, bordering that Muslim traditional culture and the American culture.
Right.
And so I remember when I first heard of Miss Marvel, like she was the first one I told him, like, hey, look, like this is such a cool comic. You should show your daughters. Like she's Muslim. She's like modest. She has like, she's not skin tight outfit. She's not showing skin. She's like a regular girl. And she got really excited. She like went and told him about it. And then when the show came out, she was like the first person again that I told her, like, oh, like you have to get Apple Plus. You have to watch this. Because I'm sure her daughters relate to that character, that having a traditional conservative family in some aspects, but also what's interesting is being a woman and a young woman within that Muslim culture that can also oftentimes be very conservative and not the freest of environments for them. And we talk about that because we're good friends and we talk about those types of things. And their daughters are very they're able to express themselves. One is going to college next year. They're very independent, very free thinking. They have LGBT friends. They have changed even their parents and my friends' minds about a lot of topics and issues. So it makes me happy to think that they can maybe see themselves reflected in a show like Miss Marvel and be a superhero. And then it also is tackling issues that they face day to day in their lives. So it's such a cool, powerful thing to see how a superhero comic book character could also teach other people, can represent and give hope to people. See that heroes come in all shapes and sizes and colors. So it's just really cool. And it makes me happy for them to have that character, as much as like I'm so excited and happy to see Namor in I can't wait to see it, like, because we got a little bit of Salma Hayek in the Eternals. It wasn't all that I wanted, but it was like a little bit of the door opening. Zoe Saldana in Guardians of the Galaxy, not fully what I want, but like getting there. So hopefully this will be like finally opening the door, and we can see some really cool, Latino characters coming to the screen. It's obviously a sequel to Miles Morales I can't wait for as well, because he also represents the Afro-Latino community and is one of my favorite characters that's been brought to the screen, and also one of my favorite comic book characters. So we there's some hope, there's some glimmer there, but we see the importance of that with these types of shows and movies.
Yeah, definitely. And I started reading a new comic book. Well, not new, but the all different Avengers from 2015. And it has Sam Wilson as Captain America. It has Miss Marvel in it. It has Miles Morales as Spider-Man in there. Nova's in there. Iron Man, of course, is still there. And it got me thinking, this could be where Phase 4 of the MCU is heading. Because all those characters are getting brought into play, into places. So maybe we'll see a Miles Morales on the live screen soon.
I hope so. And Kid Nova is, if it's Kid Nova that is in that comic book, then it is Sam Alexander, who is Latino, who's Mexican. He's actually from Arizona.
Oh, okay. That's true. He said he was from Arizona.
Yeah, he's a cool character. I have some of his comic books, that series, which is really good. I recommend it. And I lost my train of thought about why I brought him up, but yeah, that would be great to see him. And there's actually a new iteration of the Fantastic Four that's actually really cool that just came out. Art Adams is one of my favorite cover book artists. So he typically just does covers because he doesn't like doing the whole book. So I got the variant by him. So that's something that I would recommend checking out. Number one issue just came out last week. So that's pretty cool.
I'm going to buy an issue this coming Wednesday, the new number one Daredevil, a new reiteration of that. Also written by Chip Zdarsky, who was one of my favorite writers for comic books because he's done Batman, he's done Daredevil, a whole slew of other things. But I've never really made a point to go buy a number one release before. So I'm going this coming Wednesday to get that one. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's funny because it's every Wednesday, new comic books come out, and there's always something for me to be excited about, whether it be a variant cover by an artist that I really like, Maria Wolf being one of them. I think I already talked about her in the cover.
That was really cool. I saw that picture of Sabretooth, and that was
I bought it.
Rock. Metal.
So I'll be carefully putting it into board and plastics to save it safely. But yeah, like just really cool. I mean, so much good work is coming out right now, and just a very diverse group of artists from all over the world doing really cool artwork, great storytelling. So really cool. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I haven't spent. Well, I guess I spend money every month on the Marvel Unlimited to go read back issues that I missed out on when they first came out. But yeah, something about having them in your hand is just a little different, so you can flip through them. Now, do you typically read your comic books, or do you buy them just to collect them?
Because I buy so much, it's hard to read all of them before I bag them and board them and store them. Because I'm. It's kind of sad to say, but on a busy week, I could probably buy maybe 20 issues. So that's on a week that there's a lot that I like. On a week that maybe is a slow week, I maybe buy 5 or 4. So times 4, a month. That's a lot.
Get your 20 out there,
typically I do. There's one series, a Silver Coin, that's like a horror anthology series. I read that before I bag and board it. That one's really cool. There's certain ones that I'm really excited about the story and the plot, so I'm like, I can't wait to get the new issue. I have to read it right away. There are some that are like the artwork for the cover is kind of important to me, maybe not the story and the plot. And then there's some that I buy, that I bag, and then I read it online. So, because I don't want to mess up the comics.
I hear you.
It's like a mix of all of it. But that's what's so great about that app is that you can go back, find what you really like, and then you can go back and either buy if they have a trade paperback of it, or you could buy the issue because you really love that comic.
Exactly.
Instead of just buying a whole bunch of stuff and then you're
that's
like,
what I've been doing.
Okay. You can buy one that kind of means more to you. And typically the price will have settled if it's a little bit older. It's the demand may not be as high as it was when it first came out and sold out. So it's kind of a good strategy to go back, read some old stuff, find your character that you like, and then kind of go from there. So it's smart.
Yeah, I had it all planned out all along. Well, I think that's all I have for this week.
Yeah.
It's a good comic book week.
Yeah, more comic books. Obviously, Thor came out. I'll probably see it this week, so we'll be able to talk about it maybe on our next podcast. See, I know there's some talk, murmurs on the Twitter about the director. So I'm going to investigate that and find out more about that and see what's going on. We're both fans of him, so we're obviously going to be on that side of the fence, but we'll see what's going on, and then we can bring it up on our next podcast or on our social medias. People, we do kind of talk about certain topics during the week that maybe don't make it to the podcast that we just tweet about. So make sure you follow both of us on Twitter. Mine is, I think, loud_proud.
Loud Brown Proud.
Loud Brown Proud, yeah. And Danny Dorco, right?
Yep, or Dorco Danny. Yeah, because someone already took Danny Dorco for some reason.
So, we're definitely associated with the PopCultX Twitter. Obviously, it's us. So you'll be able to see like the retweets and stuff. Watch out for us, follow us, subscribe, and interact with us and let us know.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I pose questions to our mutual friends. And see what their thoughts are, and that definitely does influence the topics for this year.
I laugh when you say mutual friends because I learned a new term, for us Gen X people. Did you know the term moots is short for mutual friends?
I didn't.
The more you know. Moots. Because I kept saying, I want more moots. So I was like, what the hell is a moot? Because it doesn't make any sense. So I had to Google it, and that's the verb now, Google. And it means mutual friends. So when you share friends in common with one another, those are moots. So if you are moots,
I guess that's a little bit saying something for this old man. But I Urban Dictionary is definitely my friend. I will look up so many things at Urban Dictionary because I just don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Episode 64 is done. And like I said, join us online for the conversation. It does continue online on Twitter, on YouTube, sometimes Instagram. So definitely follow us, like us, subscribe, and we will be back next week with some cool hot news and possibly some cool guests.
Yep. We look forward to mooting you.
See ya.